When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If this part gets 100 likes, I'll make the next part. As long as you guys meet the like goal, I will continue to make these until the series ends. Now let's get into this story. We're going to continue where we last left off. Terror finally was able to escape the prison cells underneath the Castle of Atlantis and made his way back to Old Atlantis. In the old... made himself a home in the old ruined castle of Old Atlantis that was abandoned generations ago, as the young hybrid Nomu is waiting for Arthur and Mara to arrive. Every 30 minutes, Terror would get a status report from the Nomus that's patrolling the castle and the ruins of the city of Old Atlantis. Terror is waiting while sitting on the throne, tossing something up in the air. A small piece of ice that's the size of a baseball. It's a small, ice ball, basically what it is. The ice Terror produces doesn't melt very easy in the water. The water in the throne room has no effect on the baseball-sized ice ball, as she's throwing up in the air and catching it while sitting on the throne. The whole throne room is filled with water. The first thing he did when he got back to the castle was deactivate the Atlantean tech, keeping water from entering the throne room. Terror caught the small ice ball and crushed it into his hands as he got up from the throne. They're here. The moment Mara swam in the throne room, she bolted towards Terror when she saw him and tackled him into a hug. Your uncle didn't hurt you, did he? No, the food didn't hurt me. Even though that small device he had in his hand was quite surprising and painful. I want to thank you for getting us out of there. Terror. I'll be frank with you, Food. Your well-being is not my concern, but considering if you were to die, it would make my mother sad. So that's why I have a vast interest in your survival. You truly dislike me that much? You seem to be confused. Allow me to clarify things for you, Food. I don't dislike you or like you. You're just food. Compared to all the other food on this planet, you're more important. As long as you're important to my mother, then I won't kill you. Let that get to your head, Food. You're no different than anyone else on this planet, and anyone else on any member of that little Justice League, outside of Wonder Woman. That's all you are, food to me. I will not lower myself to have emotion for simple food. Maybe if you play your cards right, you might ascend from food to an actual person in my eyes. But we have more important things to worry about. Wouldn't you agree? You're quite right, Terror. I still don't understand why my brother is doing this. Power, of course. The moment I met that food, I knew he was trouble. I had a very I had a very bad feeling about him. Then he showed me his true colors when he tried to assassinate me on several occasions. Foods should know their place. If you knew, why didn't you say something, sweetheart? I love you, Mom, but I love you, Mom, I really do. But there was no physical evidence outside of my ward, and I highly doubt your husband over there would take the word of the outsider. Considering how you were all buddy-buddy with him the moment we arrived at the castle. Terror is right, I probably wouldn't have took it seriously. I had no idea my brother has truly fallen so low. Maybe if I talked to him, maybe I could talk him down. I don't see that happening, dear. He's a threat that needs to be put down. I thought I knew your brother, but what I saw in in that throne room, I don't know who that was. I've seen that look on many men's faces before. You're going to have to put the end. You're going to have to put an end to him and strike him down or capture him. I plan to keep my promise. If he refuses to see reason, I will kill him. He hurt my terror. He hurt my terror. He needs to die. You're not going to let this go, are you? No, he tried to kill my child. There is no negotiations. I will kill him. But because you are my husband, I will allow you to try to talk him down. If he doesn't stop, then I'll kill him. His fate will be sealed. I understand, dear. It saddens me to see my brother die, but I must do what's best for Atlantis. So be it. If I can't talk him down, I'll leave his fate up to you. Terror, what do you suggest we do? I'm surprised you're asking me. Time I spent with you, Terror, I came to realize you're highly intelligent, able to come up with plans on the spot, and extremely clever. You must have some sort of plan already thought up in your head or in your head of yours. You are definitely a expert strategist. I agree with Arthur. Son, you inherited Diana's fierce warrior spirit and my drive and Inko's intelligence. And that's not even bringing up your father into this. You're a Atlantean demigod. If you want to get technical about it here. Very well. What I suggest we do is start gathering allies. We can't take back Atlantis with the three of us, even though we have nomus at our disposal. They're still low-tier nomus, and I have no knowledge of this trench. What I suggest we do is go to each kingdom and ask for aid, so you can reclaim your throne. And I think we should start with the Shark Kingdom. Even if you even if you got the League involved, we still need more bodies. This is this is not going to be a simple battle that could be wrapped up in a nice little bow. This is going to be a full-scale war. I really don't see it happening any other way. Your brother wants to wage war on the surface world and conquer the sea, and I have a problem with that. You see, the sea is mine food. You may have your little kingdoms in the sea. The sea is mine. I don't care about your little kingdoms. But once the sea's in danger, I will eliminate anyone. Outside of my mother, of course. That's what I suggest we do. It's really all up to you at the end of the day. You're the king, after all. It's actually a solid plan. What do you think, Arthur? Batman was right. Your intelligence makes you a deadly opponent. Terror only smirk at the compliment. Kneel, Terror. Terror. Mira simply smiled and nodded, telling her son it's okay. When he looked at her for confirmation, Terror kneeled down to one knee. Mira created a ice trident and handed it over to Arthur as Arthur tapped the ice trident on both of Terror's shoulder. I might not be I might not be currently in command of my kingdom, in my people, but that doesn't make me less of a king. Terror, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you as a citizen of Atlantis and and of royal blood. From today forward, you are Prince of Atlantis. Rise. I would like to officially welcome you to the family, even though you have a low opinion on me, but I plan to change that sport. As Arthur is smiling at Terror, you're being awfully quiet there, Mara. Mother is probably lost in thought. She's probably worried about her apprentice that's on Paradise Island. Considering we're both males, we won't be allowed on that island or nowhere near it because of its defenses. Why don't you collect your apprentice and me and the food over there, going ahead and make our way to the Shark Kingdom to talk to their king? I am worried about her, but I'm also worried about you, son. I really don't want to leave your side. I'll be fine. I'll be with your husband. For food, he is adequate when it comes to fighting. I might don't like it, but I'll go. I'll come find you as soon as I get back from Paradise Island. Sarah gave her husband a hug and hugged her son goodbye before she swam out of the castle and head to Paradise Island, where the Amazon lives, where Yuri is been training on the island with the other Amazons to improve her fighting style. We should probably get going too, Terror. It's going to be a long swim. Suppose you're right. Try to keep up. About to say, sir. I was about to say the same thing to you, Terror. As Arthur has a smirk on his face, as they immediately started to swim outside of the castle ahead to the Shark Kingdom to talk to Prince Shark to ask for assistance. While while swimming, Terror turns his head to Aquaman. So tell me everything you know about the trench. I don't know much about them, and knowledge is very important when you're facing down an enemy. Like, I don't like facing an unknown enemy. It makes planning a strategy very difficult. I don't know much about them. They used to be Atlanteans that were changed somehow. I've only seen the trench once when I was a lad. Beyond that, I don't know much about them. If the trench are involved, things are going to get a lot more worse before they get any better. They're man-eaters. They're complete monsters. To be bearer of bad news, food, but we're being trailed. Let's take cover behind the reefs down below. Terra immediately swam downwards, began to hide in the reef alongside with Arthur, as they watched patrols of Atlanteans with the trench swim around the whole area. There's far too many of them, food. A battle on head on, I would not suggest. I suggest we remain hidden in the reef. It would be suicide. I have full confidence I would be able to survive such a conflict. Unfortunately, you would most likely perish. You can't really take your throne back if you're dead. So I'm gonna have to play this very smart. We shouldn't engage unless it's absolutely necessary. Agreed. I might be very confident in my abilities. Even I know that would be suicide. With a unit of patrols of Atlanteans entrenched, they would have the numbers on their side. Out of curiosity, why didn't you bring any of those nomu creatures with us? Would be unwise for us for It would be unwise for us to travel in large groups, and I need them to protect the old Atlantis. We could use it as a temporary base when we're strategizing future battles with Ocean Master. And it's my territory. I claimed it, and I fully intend to protect my territory. That place it holds a very sentimental place in my heart. It looks like the patrols are going to give another pass around. It looks like we're stuck here for the time being until the patrol swims away. I don't know how many trench the food has command of. We're lucky If we're lucky, the bulk of it is trying to locate us, leaving Mother a peaceful swim to Paradise Island. Terror created a ice trident and handed it over to Arthur, just just in case things get unpleasant. Food. You should have a weapon so you could defend yourself properly. Don't worry about the trident. It will melt anytime soon. The only thing that melt my ice is extreme heat. And considering we're underwater, I highly doubt we'll come across someone that's able to wield fire in the ocean. Appreciate it, Terror. Arthur heard Terror chuckling to himself. Arthur decided to ask, "What's so funny?" "What's so funny, Terror?" "I was just remembering Prince Shark's last comment about the reef keeping us safe. I just find it ironic." Arthur and Terror begins to cackle at each other by Prince Shark's last words to them. After Terror and Arthur stayed hidden in the large reef, the patrol move on to continue their search for Arthur and Mara. They're on orders by the new King of Atlantis to eliminate those two. If the general population finds out Arthur and Mara are still alive, it will ruin everything. It would ruin Ocean Master's plans. When the patrols were out of sight, Tara and Arthur continued their swim to meet with Prince Shark, the ruler of the Shark Kingdom. Tara and Arthur decided to take shelter in a nearby cave outside of Atlantis territory after they swam for a good amount of time. As they decided to gather their strength and continue the next day. I've been meaning to ask this, Terror. Why haven't you gone the path of being a villain? Considering your human mother is quite a vicious woman. I have no interest in being a villain. I know my old man is the number one villain in Japan. I have no interest in that sort of lifestyle. I simply want to be left alone, allowed to hunt in the ocean. I only involve myself with the League because because you food decided to take my mother. Heard about that. I heard you use your sonar ability just to walk in like you own the place. And quite impressive, considering how old you were when that happened. Miro's right. You truly see the world differently. Of course I do. I see the world differently. I don't have the same morals as humanity. Yes, I do kill, but I don't usually kill out of spite or anger. I simply kill to eat. I'm an apex predator, not some human. I might have some human DNA in me, but I'm no human. I'm a hybrid nomu. Good, evil. That's a human term, and I refuse to play their little games. After talking for a little bit, they decided to sleep until the next morning. The next morning, Arthur found Terror having his hand over his mouth. I don't know how, but they found us. There's several of these trenches in our current location. They haven't found the cave just yet, but it's only a matter of time. When Arthur gnawed at Terror, Terror removed his hand from Arthur's mouth and swam backwards a little bit as Terror is leaning against the cave wall, peeking outside to see several of the trench swimming around the area. We got lucky. I only spotted 5 of them. There are no Atlanteans, that I could sense at least. It looks like they're searching for food. Most likely they strayed away from whatever patrols they were with. Most likely. Father told me stories about the trench. Growing up, they're extremely hard to control. Don't know how my brother is managing this, but it is impossible for my brother to fully control these monsters. My brother might be a threat, but the trench is a bigger threat alongside with the trench queen. They're the real threat. If they're left unchecked, they were they will scatter across the ocean, devouring everything, leaving nothing but corpses and bones. About that at a later time. I'm gonna start picking them off. It's time for the predator to go hunt. Just sit back and watch. It's very rare for someone to watch me hunt my prey. Terror swam so fast that Arthur had a hard time keeping up just by observing him. Terror swam around the trench without being noticed and created his right arm into a ice claw and shoved it right through the trench chest while biting down on the trench neck with his bare teeth ripping off its head. Terror begins to swim around the 2 remaining trench that in the area or creature. Then he begins to swim above the 2 of the trench creatures that used to be Atlanteans. While swimming downwards, Terror created a huge ice scythe and sliced downwards as he passed the 2 creatures. The 2 trench creatures get sliced in half. Terror immediately morphed the ice scythe into an ice spear and tossed the spear through the head of one of the trench. Terror immediately turned around and ducked under a incoming trench. That was only one left alive. As Terror slammed his tail across the creature's face, making him hit the nearby reef. Terror extended his hand outwards and pointed his index finger towards the last remaining trench creature that's trying to get up from the reef. It immediately barraged the poor creature with a barrage of ice bullets that turned into ice spikes halfway through motion, halfway to the halfway point before it could actually hit their bodies. It turns to ice spikes. As a dozen of ice spikes pierced through the creature's skin, killing it ultimately. Arthur swam out of the cave and head towards Terror. Well, I got to say, Terror, that was impressive and terrifying. See nothing yet, food. We should we should probably get going before more show up. Agreed. Terror and Arthur continued their swim to the Shark Kingdom. They were making good progress. They're halfway to the Shark Kingdom borders. A random town caught Arthur's attention. Arthur pointed to the city, basically, as Terror nodded as they made their way over there. Terror noticed the city is filled with. Terror noticed the town is most likely filled with members of the Ocean Master's military force, judging by the patrols are patrolling all around the city from the outside. And what townfolk he could see when he did some recon, when he turned invisible, the townfolk is seeing better days. It seems like they've given up all all hope. He saw several Ocean Master Atlantean guards dragging some bodies out of the town or city, basically, and it looks like they've been sorry, and it looks like they've been in the city for quite a while. This is not something recent. I watched two of the Atlantean city guard drag out a dead body out of the town and threw it off a cliffside. Luckily, the Atlanteans did not see Arthur and Terra approach, as the dead bodies basically sank down. Terror noticed they were wearing some sort of cloaks. Terror begins to take off the cloaks off the dead bodies. But what are you doing, Terror? Being very interested in this city. You can't simply just stroll in there. We'll probably be noticed. You're supposed to be dead, and let's keep it that way until you reveal yourself. And these cloak things would hide our identities. We could pose as simple travelers. Here, catch, Arthur. As Arthur caught one of the cloaks, he basically called him food. He never called him by the name, but anyways, let's just continue forward. That was a slip of a tongue. As Terror tossed a cloak over to Arthur, Arthur reluctantly took the cloak, ultimately, but he doesn't like the idea of stealing from the dead, but he knows Terror is right. Terror is right. Terror and Arthur eventually approach the city with their cloaks on their bodies, concealing their faces. After some questions from the guards, they allow them entry into the city without much trouble. By the seven seas, these people have lost hope completely. I can see in their eyes. Not surprisingly, after all, your brother is quite a tyrant, and all I see is members of the Atlantean military with your brother's symbol. Let's not dawdle. Tara and Arthur followed the civilians of the city until they got to the center of the city, as they saw everyone gathered up, as the Olympian city guards are performing a public execution. They're executing members of the resistance to show example of, not to challenge the Ocean Master rule. Even though the city is not in Atlantis territory, the city itself is still ruled by Atlantis. It's a trading town, basically, or city. A lot of the Atlanteans here don't trust Ocean Master one bit, and form a resistance. Terror watched the Atlantean guards force a young woman with white hair on her knees as they place her head on a piece of wood, while the executioners wielding a Atlantean axe, ready to behead the woman. Terror noticed several dead bodies. They must have been executing Atlanteans before they entered the city. In truth, they've been executing members of the resistance every day. Before Arthur could say anything, Terror immediately swam forward and killed the two Atlantean guards that got into his path by slitting their throat with his claws. Terror kicked the blunt of the axe, of the executioner axe, managed to managed to get it sorry managed the axe flying out of the executioner hands in gap with her as the axe dug into the side of the building. Terror grabbed the woman by the waist. Then Terror unleashed a powerful sonar attack as everyone falls to their knees, holding their head. Terror motioned Arthur to follow him as they enter a abandoned house to lay low a bit when the guards recover from Terror's attack. They'll be searching they'll be searching the city nonstop. Thanks for saving me, but who are you two? Are you new members of the resistance? We're kinda don't have a leader right now. He got executed yesterday. This is all you, Food. Dolphin was confused by the shorter figure in the room. She could tell by the size of his figure and the sound of his voice he's quite young. And the food comment unnerved her, but she ultimately put that to the side for right now. Not part of the resistance, but can you send a message to your leader? Well, that would be a problem because you said your leader was dead, so this makes things difficult. As Arthur pulled his cloak off his head, Elfin eyes widened. King Arthur, we were told you were dead. My brother would have killed me and my wife if it wasn't for my friend over here. We're on our way to neighboring kingdom to ask for assistance to take back Atlantis from my brother. Mara is alive, thank the seven seas. If you two are still alive, then we have a fighting chance. It's too dangerous to travel to the Resistance headquarters now. They'll be searching for us. Looks like you need a diversion. I can handle that. That shouldn't be a problem. For me, at least. Who are you exactly? As Dolphin can't see a good look of his face because the cloak is concealing his face. All you need to know is I'm a friend. Once the fun starts, the rest is up to you, Food. I'll leave the resistance to you. As Terror walks out of the house and swam in the middle of the street, as he got a couple blocks away from Arthur and Dolphin. Well, Ocean Master, you want a monster? I'll give you a monster. As Terror threw off his cloak, as he sees a whole platoon of Atlantean guards heading towards his direction. While waiting for the Atlantean platoon to get in range, Terror created ice claws on both hands, immediately swam forward into a spin as Terror shoots towards the Atlantean platoon, only for the Atlanteans to get chopped into little pieces. As you see Terror appear right behind them, as blood begins to gush out of the street from the Atlantean guards that Terror just slaughtered. As the blood conceal Terror's whereabouts, as it's covering the street, making a good camouflage for Terror. As he saw several Atlantean guards heading towards his direction, several platoons are just outside of the bloody camouflage that spread throughout the street, concealing Terror. Out of nowhere, a ice spear shot out of the blood, impaling one of the lanterns into one of the buildings to the side. As I shoot out of the camouflage of blood surrounding Terror, concealing his whereabouts, making the Lantians scatter and panic. That's what Terror was waiting for. As Terror shot out his tail toward one of the Lantians and wrapped around his waist, pull him into the blood. As the other Lantians could hear their comrade yelling as more blood begins to cover the area. As the scream finally stopped, Terror shot out of the blood while camouflage, or while invisible, concealing himself. Because he activated his invisibility before he exited the blood cloud, the Atlantean city guard had no idea that their target is not in the same location. As Terror is standing right behind them, Terror approached one of the Atlanteans from behind and sunk his teeth into his neck while shoving his ice claws into his back, piercing out of his chest. As the Atlantean immediately coughed up blood, Terror immediately swam to the side. As Terror is still invisible, by this time several civilians of the townfolk is witnessing the guards being massacred by an invisible force that no one can see. Only can see the slight figure from the blood whenever he enters, exit and enters out of the blood cloud. That's that's making it hard to see who's attacking them. Terror shoved his tail into one of the Lantian's chest. The Lantian starts to cough up blood. Terror whispered in his ears, "You're all gonna die. I'm gonna take great pleasure in slaughtering every single one of you." Once he crossed the river Styx, "Tell Hades I sent you." As he chopped the Atlantean's head off with one single motion with his ice claw, Terror finished off the rest of them with well-aimed water bullets, piercing through their skulls. As the street became dead quiet after the massacre, Terror moved to the next section of the city to terrorize more Atlantean guards. The city guards went into mass panic as they saw as several guards reported being attacked by an invisible force all across the city. Today is the official day Terror earned his title, the Terror of the Sea. After Terror adequately terrorized the city guard, he began tracking down Arthur by tracking his scent to a very old building. As he swam in and followed the scent to an empty room where there's a huge rug and with a lone bookcase that looks very suspicious on the side of the wall. As he examined the rug and made his way over to the bookcase, as he tilt one of the books, as the bookcase opened up to a underground passage. As he followed the passageway, as the bookcase behind him shut when he entered it fully, when he finally got to the end of the underground passageway, he found himself in a large room with several different Atlanteans that formed a resistance, talking to Arthur. The leader of the resistance did not survive the execution yesterday, so the title was thrust upon Dolphin. "I don't know how he did it, Aquaman, but your friend has been keeping the city guard extremely busy. We were able to escape our current location fairly easy." I had no doubt he would succeed. He gave us plenty of time to escape. We didn't tell him where we were going to be. About him, he'll find us. You're quite right, Food. As everyone turned around to see Terror sitting on one of the chairs in the room. Terror noticed members of the resistance were getting ready to draw their weapons. I suggest you don't aim those at me, or I'll devour all of you. Do I make myself clear? Food. Really need to work on your people skills. Everyone calm down. He's a friend. Not to sound ungrateful, Aquaman, but are you sure we can trust him? I'm not even sure what he is. Don't worry, he can be trusted. After all, he's my wife's son. Every member of the resistance eyes widen as they turn to Arthur to see they if they might have misheard him. What Arthur said. As they all turn to look at Terror, as he's not even paying attention to them. Oh, Foods, you really don't have a choice in the matter. Trust me or don't trust me. It doesn't really matter and at the end of the day. We're going to have to work together. You might not like it. Get used to it. Finally came along with Food over here because he was concerned about the city. He was mostly curious. So I could care less what happens to a lot of you. My main focus is taking down Ocean Master and putting the Food over there back on his little throne. And to have my mother's daily life return. You could either fall in line or get the hell out of my way. Either way, I'm going to help you if you like it or not. He's definitely a predator. What's your name, Predator? Name's Terror. I'm not surprised that's your name. Well, it's a little harsh, but what Terror said is true. If Arthur vouched for you, and if you're the son of Queen Mara, I'm more than happy to work together. We all admire Queen Mara. So what do you suggest we do, Arthur? I might be the leader of the resistance now, but I have no experience in leading. Even if we remove all my brother's soldiers from the city, they'll just send more in their place. Can't simply abandon everyone in the city. That's non-negotiable. No, I just don't have any. I know, and I don't have any intention of abandoning the people here. Terror, I suppose there's plenty of room in my territory, and with my guardians, in a word, protecting, they could easily protect the civilians here. But there's a lot of people in this city. And according to the Library of Atlantis, the location of my territory is not well known. And Ocean Master is not aware of the location. But moving such a large group of people, food, would be difficult. You two talking about? Quite simple, Food. We simply relocate the population to my territory. You might know it as a different name, the old city of Atlantis, that was abandoned during one of the old wars. I really don't care which one it was. Oh, I know it's my territory now. The city itself is mostly intact. It's a fixer-upper, there's no way around that. But we could use the buildings for the civilians for temporary homes, and we could use the castle. I was I had planned to use the castle, the old castle of Atlantis, as a home base anyways. Adding a few more people won't change anything. I see, that would work, but move but moving such a large group would be difficult. Almost impossible. King Food, what about the League? Could they assist us in some manner? Actually, that would work. I just have to contact the League. I would have to contact the League immediately. I still have my communicator. With the League's teleportation technology, it'd still be an easy task. Just give me 24 hours and I'll have everything set up. Please excuse me. I need to talk to John. It's going to take a little bit. As as Arthur walked off to the supper room to talk to the Martian, leaving Terror and the rest of the Resistance with towards each other, just leaving them alone. Could either be a good thing or a bad thing. Where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judging my time zone, and I'll catch you in the next video.